All right, welcome back, y'all. Yo, as always, let's check out the reactions in the comments where I take a look at what you guys talked about on our stories from our previous stories that you talked about this week. Like I always say, I'm always appreciative of the time that you guys are willing to give to me and to be able to be part of the conversation, because I truly, truly enjoy the conversation like no other. So as it properly goes, let's jump into it right now. I always hate it whenever this thing does this. All right, there we go. All right, so first and foremost, let's take a look over here by my guy, Joe Ritchie. Second, he found our documentary Singapore to Tokyo, and he was like, "Hey, man, found it." Not road, great stuff. He had talked about it before. But this was actually, I had met him, one of the few rugby media guys, person of color, black man in rugby media at the Rugby World Cup in 2015. He was like, I definitely can relate. I'm totally a bike dude myself. Rode 15 miles each way yesterday to drop something off at the post office. And barring stormy weather, I'm still on the bike every day here in Thailand. Not sure I'd try the streets of Bangkok, though I did ride a lot in busy parts of Hong Kong before we left. That was a cool video, though. It was quite a challenge, though I kept waiting for you guys to get the bikes to Japan. All you got to do is just finish it out. Just go pick it up and finish it out. And then shout out to USA Rugby League Union fan saying, I taught English in Chiang Mai in 2001. Love that country. Thailand, absolutely legit. Like I said, heading over there this next week to be able to get, my rugby on. All right. Kevin Cinnamon Toast 3669 said, in regards to the story about Welsh rugby star Lewis Rees-Zammit heading to the NFL, and Kevin says he will dominate the NFL. I gotta say, I think that's absolute nonsense. Though that being said, there's been a lot of good video of him performing, catching over at IMG Academy as he's getting ready and continuing to process his way through, running routes. You never know. You really never know. Again, I don't have the highest hopes because there's not a great history of skill players really actually performing in the transition from rugby in England or through the IPP and then showing out over the long term in the NFL. But again, anything's possible. First time for everything. But you see what it's gonna see what happens with him on that one. All right, my boy Jason Bray, Ultra Sports, talking in response to David Letterman setting his eyes on the NRL purchase. This was the story of Dave Letterman talking about him maybe or maybe not purchasing into the South Sydney Rabbitohs, the rugby league team that's famously owned by Russell Crowe. And Jason was like, "What? How did you know this before I did?" And I say to that brother, "Hey man, look. When you in the game, you're in the game. All right, you can't be slipping. All right, you can't be slipping like that. We right here always. And honestly, y'all, this was probably one of the most popular stories of this week. A lot of people jumped in on this one, which is great because this is probably absolutely fictitious. It's David Letterman talking about Worldwide Pants Plus, like he has a streaming service, but I love to be part of the joke. And again, you never know. Rit the Rugger 160, my guy, says, isn't the Rabbitohs Russell Crowe's team? And this was a nice little response. We're going to go through it. Peter-CI1EF goes, Peter Holmes, a court has part ownership of the Bunnies or did. Matthew Hughes 9161 responding to Peter said, Holmes, a court sold his share in the team about 10 years ago. It's currently owned by Russell Crowe, James Packer, and Mike Cannon Brooks. And of course, because we got a great community, everybody's supporting Peter, thanking Matthew. And that being confirmed by Rick Vun 9817, and also Peter going, Pete's family has been a supporter of the Rabbitohs for a very long time, but he's got other businesses going on, and he obviously doesn't agree with the limelight on him. Fair enough. Which, great. Robbie Balboa goes, the NRL are staging 2 matches in Las Vegas in a month or two. Like what the NFL do in London. South Sydney are playing in one of the matches, so it might have been a slight tap from Russell Crowe to hand him over a jumper, which again makes perfect sense. You know, you get it. Dave, again, is the former king of late night. Now, I don't know if he's necessarily as high popular amongst a certain generation, just because it's been like almost a decade since he's been on the air. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Dave is still a very, very influential person in the celebrity community. And obviously he brought a lot of attention over to this video. So it's not something that's out of the realm of possibility. And it would be a good marketing promo. It would be a great marketing promo. User SK9QO6TS8D said Rapitos have had an LA/Star connections ever since Russell Crowe has been a part of the club. Of course, you know, again, Russell Crowe's a crazy man. Like that's what he does. He supports his own. Kenny fucking Powers goes, doesn't even know the correct name of the sport. And you know, obviously, you know, talking about the fact that Dave called it rugby, when obviously when it comes to rugby league, it is preeminently known as just rugby league, with rugby being the common name for rugby union. Darren Gifford 7442 goes, don't try and F us over, David. Murdoch tried and failed. We are the oldest, the loudest, and the proudest. And when you're fair dinkum, I don't know what that means. We welcome you. Don't forget it. It's People's Club first. So I love that kind of passion. Like, yo, protect your club, son. Protect your club. You don't want nobody messing with your club. That's what it's about. It's about that life. And of course, you know, in response, because we got a very engaging community, Top Hat that underscore promotions and marketing goes, you actually believe all the BS? Hey, man, again, you never know. You never truly know. See, we got okay, we got a couple more from it. Let's see. I love this by Crazy Praying Mantis 5596 saying, always take comedians seriously, which works perfect because Simone Young 9388 goes, it's F, he loves the game. He doesn't know it's called rugby league. You know, gotta love it. Gotta love it, man. I think it's super hilarious. In response to our last reactions to the comments, Rick the Rugger 160 goes, getting ready to watch the Six Nations on Peacock last Friday. I noticed that they had a show called Scrum, so I watched it over the weekend. It's the story of the Queens College rugby team, Charlotte, North Carolina, and their head coach, the first African-American head coach to win a collegiate national championship back in 2019. And he took Queens from not having a team to national champs in 3 years. I'm sure you want to watch it. Now, for you non-American readers, I should point out that one of the flaws of the USA Rugby Football Union is that in a nation that lives on college sports, they seem to have no interest in the college game. The schools have subdivided themselves into 3 separate leagues that have different seasons, and many of our best schools can't play each other because of it. I didn't recognize what are considered the best rugby schools in that championship. However, going from no teams to a championship in 3 years, no matter the league division, is one hell of an achievement. And yeah, you know, that actually is in regards Frank McKinney, who's I know him. I remember actually before it came out asking questions about black male rugby coaches at a D1, D2 or so level for men's side. From the women's side, there's been quite a few. And even that being said is a little bit iffy. Obviously, you have people like Kevin Battle, who was absolutely prolific with Santa Barbara. We talked with Lance Kavanaugh in a previous episode about their team. You know, we've had plenty of women's head coaches that were run by black men. So good documentary. I give a lot of it to credit to Queens College for putting it out there, and that it's on Peacock, and that they were able to do something with it. And in terms of like the scenario with college rugby, I would disagree with the factor that people don't care about college rugby, or that USA Rugby doesn't care about college rugby. But and in fact, I think it's actually really one of the strongest pillars of USA Rugby. That being said, obviously there's a lot of commotion that goes along with it. Though it's really actually split to three sides. You have your NCAA, NIRA level that goes through the accreditation of the NCAA, which is a governing body for all of college sports. Top level sports. Then you have NCR, National College Rugby, that carries one side. They initially were starting with smaller schools, not necessarily D3, but the smaller population schools, and have evolved to be able to hold D1, D2, D3 schools all together, and have found them way into as an entry point, and found friction with USA Rugby. And then, of course, you have CRAA, which is the other side of college rugby that has a lot of preeminent D1 teams, top D1 men's and women's teams, same with NCR, and D2, D3 teams, D1, 2A teams. So yeah, it's split. It's confusing. Obviously, everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie in their own way. I have faith it all works itself out. And of course, you know, not everybody's able to play. There's 1.5 million different kind of championships that happen, but you know, as long as we still have some action, it's the least that I can take from that. Jonathan Whittora 81 Jonathan Whittoria 8102 said in response to our interview with Wendy Young, which you guys absolutely can go check out. We just posted it this week. Great of your Scrum Half Connection, top women's rugby media, everything, just everything. They said, Wendy Young, I must say, she's got to be the best women's rugby commentator out for women's rugby in America and international rugby as well. And she is on MLR, and she does a great job in rugby commentary. Wendy talked about that in it, and I hopefully agree. So, you know, it's a lot of great, like talking with her was amazing. I recommend to go take that out if you get time after this one. I know it can be a little bit heavy. This is a long one, but hey, you know, this is part of the process. We want to make sure on your travels, on your day, you got something to keep you going through. And I'll take this last one from Joe Ritchie. Joe Ritchie too, talking about how MICR got its $1.1 million grant to build a new field. And Joe goes, nice. I'd like to hear more about how MICR did their successful grant proposal. I'm sure other communities would be eager to learn about those details. You know, I absolutely agree with you on that. And I think it's about copying blueprints to be able to see those meteoric rises. I give a lot of shout out to my guy, Shane Young, who is director and has worked tirelessly. That man is the Energizer Bunny for that program and has done so much selflessly. I give him so much credit, and I know that their 12 years of work that they've been doing allowed them. This was a lot put in, and then obviously being able to work with different schools within the area, seeing success in their graduation rate, seeing success in academic performance by the students. Obviously, they've played well when it matters. The city's going to notice. You do things that make a value change, that levitate not just what happens in rugby, what happens within the total community, and you'll see people wanting to gravitate on to be a part of that mission. So a lot of credit goes out to him on that one. A ton of credit for that. So